It's time for another episode of The Oil Stream with Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola, presented by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen.
What's going on? Sorry, buddy. It's a Friday episode of The Oil Stream. It's Nielsen and Gazzola.
What are you laughing at?
Well, I just kind of got a good look at just a sec. It's brought to you by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen. Visit them right now. They've got drive-thru open at all their locations. 7 locations right in Edmonton, 12 in the surrounding area as well. DoorDash, Get the Dishes, Uber Eats, drive-thru. Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen, presenting sponsor of The Oil Stream. So I got to ask you, buddy, and I don't want this to come across as like a jerk sort of asking, are you growing a mustache right now or what? What's going on here?
So we've been waiting to get into this show for 10 minutes talking to one another.
I know.
And now, right when we come out of the intro, you want to say, are you growing a mustache?
Yeah.
The answer is yes.
Okay.
Inadvertently.
All right.
I didn't mean that. I just... You know what? I'll be full disclosure, since we're making a mockery of my facial hair, which is completely par for the course. I woke up today and I shaved the sides and I looked and I'm like, you know what? This looks pretty good. So I kept it.
So just sash? Like no
Oh,
chin?
There's some stuff here.
Oh, okay.
It's blonde.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, there's a little bit there. Okay. You look like you're growing like a little French sort of man stash, so you're going to be drawing people later and stuff. Like it's.
Yes, I will be.
Yeah, you should be. You should be for sure.
That's exactly what, when I do grow a mustache, it looks like. I look like a Frenchman. Polak Italian turns into a Frenchman with facial hair. It's not good. I readily admit I have awful facial hair. My dad has great facial hair. I mean, the guy is a hairy Italian dude, but my mom, a fair-skinned, blonde Polish lady with a heavy Eastern European accent. And I'll say this too, because we're from the north in Italy. I make this joke all the time at Christmas and all of the family gatherings. I'm like, hey, what year did we cross over from Switzerland? Turns out I was right, because we're from the Alps. And a couple of my uncles have the same issue. Like, their facial hair sucks and they're in their 50s and 60s. So it's hereditary. And to answer your question, yeah, that's my mustache, baby.
What would we have to do today to get you in this car, Tommy, to just the mustache? I just want you to shave everything else and just grow out like a summer stash here, post-COVID preferably.
Yeah, so I would have zero chance with any women this summer if I did that. And after a year of spotty dating and basically sitting at home, that's the last thing I want. So It's not going to happen. Although I did have a mustache. I think it was November 2011 when I was with Oilers TV, and we could put that picture up at some point. It was terrible. It was terrible. Dusty, I remember post-game. It was the first game after Movember. And so we were in December, and I was going through the old club section down below by the Oilers locker room to go shoot my post-game wrap.
Yeah.
And I held the door open for this group of people leaving the bar. And so like 5 of them go through, and then one guy turns around and he looks at me and he just goes, that was a shitty mustache. And then he just goes, and I was like, not even you're welcome, huh? You're welcome.
Oh, buddy. Okay, but maybe don't grow
you.
it. As you were telling that story, I was searching Google as fast as I could to try to find the mustache picture, and I couldn't.
It's on my Facebook. I can send it to you if you'd like.
Well, let's discuss things here. Maybe if I can work some magic. It's tough when we're both hosting, and I'm kind of like trying to produce behind the scenes to get this picture. But I might be able to get something sketchy up here by the end of the episode.
And factor in that you've completely rattled me now, and I'm totally self-conscious, and my weekend is ruined.
Well, odds are you couldn't do anything on the weekend. It would have been ruined anyway. Plus, you're working on Saturday. What time is the Don Wheaton and White pregame show on Saturday?
Who knows? We don't know what time the game starts. I don't even. What is it?
It's looking at the early one now, right? I think it's going to be the early game on Hockey Night in Canada, like 5 o'clock Edmonton time.
If it is, we go an hour and a half before puck drop on weekends. So, I mean, last I checked, this morning I checked, it was still a late game. I was at the rink. We were talking about it. The 4 media people that were still there at the rink. And we didn't really have a good read on it. I tried to tap into my brother who works for the team, writes for EdmontonOilers.com, and he still didn't know. So, and then Dave Tippett said he wasn't even sure when he just had his availability. We don't know what time we're starting tomorrow, but I'll tell you this, an hour and a half before face-off, whenever face-off ends up being, we'll be on the air on 12:60.
We'll have that taken care of. Excellent. Yeah. That's good news. All right, we've got lots to get to. It's been a week off. We'll get into that for the Edmonton Oilers. We'll get into some possible line combinations here against Winnipeg. Ryan, Nuge, and Hopkins. No update on Nuge at the rink today, obviously, Tommy. Like, I know Cassian yesterday kind of said it's obviously pointing towards concussion-like symptoms here if you come back and have to take a step back. But no real timeline. I mean, I'm not saying rush him back because they're in a pretty decent spot, but no real timeline here on the Nuge right now?
Doesn't sound like it. Even Tippett talked about it today. Still not there in terms of health-wise. And at the optional skate, 9 forwards, 8 defensemen were out there. Ryan, Nugent Hopkins was not one of them. Slater Cuckoo, by the way, was part of the main group, but he's still a few weeks away for a little update there. No, Nugent Hopkins, if he's going to arrest him, may as well just keep him away for a little bit. Don't do anything physical for a little bit lighter at the rink. Who knows? And then potentially, maybe Dusty, he could be ready for Monday. Those head injuries, those are scary, man. And we all know it's the safe way to go about it is the best way to go about it.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do is mess around with those injuries. That's not a good idea. So play it safe. They're in a good spot. They're not desperate. They're not in a Calgary spot right now playing for their playoff lives. Like you can get away with it a little bit. But that does bring us to our Ken Morrison question of the day. If you missed Wednesday's episode, we now have a question of the day. It is brought to you by the Ken Morrison team with RE/MAX Excellence. You can visit his website at kenrmorrison.com. And if you're looking to sell a place or you're looking to move into a place, he can take care of you. 780-993-4815. And not only would you be going to a guy who's just a good dude, top 10 donor to the Stollery in Alberta, which is, I mean, that's just automatic being a good person, but he's also top 10 realtor for RE/MAX Excellence in the Edmonton area. So he'll take care of your business. I got a buddy actually who's a realtor, does his own thing down in Lethbridge. And he's like, Dusty, what the hell? You got I said, well, hey, you had 5 months to hop on board as a sponsor, and it's not going to work in Lethbridge anyway. Ken Morrison's our guy.
Ken, he's a beauty. Him and his wife, Rochelle, they just had a kid, and I've known him for a long time. He's a really good dude, good real estate agent, good people, and I'm glad he's part of the show. And look at that beautiful graphic you just brought on there. I like what you're doing. Your graphic game is excellent now, I have to say. I'm very impressed with you. Whatever that means to you, I hope you take it as a compliment, but you've done some wonderful things with the gadgets, whatnots, and hootenannies on this program.
You want to see something really wonderful?
Yeah.
I'm going to drop this on you right now. Once again, to Ken Morrison, official realtor of the Oil Stream. Visit him at kenrmorrison.com. You want graphics, Tommy? I'll give you graphics. Boom. Tom Gazzola's mustache.
I told you it's bad. Although that was 10 years ago.
But you got that Nuge going. Where's this part? Where's this part right here?
Well, that was 10 years ago. It's there now because I'm 35, but at 25, I didn't have it. It was bad, dude. It was bad. Wait, can I do love?
Just a sec. I'm going to move it right up by your head. We'll almost get it the same size. I'm actually going to put it right over top of your body right now.
Do it.
Let's see this. Let's see. Here we go.
Look at my mustache. Doesn't it look great, you guys? I'm wearing a different cardigan. My hair, I think, is a little more Tino Vaselino than it was back then. And I'm a lot older, a little bit wiser, and I've gone through a hell of a lot of shit since then.
Oh, buddy, that was too good. All right, let's get to your Ken Morrison question of the day. And Tommy, when the Oilers take to the ice against Winnipeg on Saturday, the question is, McDavid and Draisaitl together or apart with no Nugent Hopkins? What do you got?
I say they're apart, and a couple of reasons. You're thin at center to begin with. No Nugent Hopkins, we know that already. And add to the fact that Dave Tippett today said, hey, we'll see what happens on game day, when he was asked about that by Jim Matheson. So that's an indicator that things might look a little bit different at the morning skate tomorrow if they have one. I mean, again, the schedule's all over the map right now. We don't know for sure what time that game starts. And then on top of that, Dusty, you look at the Jets and how strong they are at forward and how strong they are down the middle, and you go, boy, you better spread out your wingers or your top centerman as best as possible.
Yeah.
Give yourself as much depth as possible, because they're coming at you with 3 really good lines and a 4th line that can sting you on most nights anyway. So, man, you're going at the Jets with as much balance as you can, I think. So I think when we see the Oilers take to the ice tomorrow, we're going to see McDavid and Draisaitl split up, and you got to go at the Jets that way. Otherwise, you've got one really unbelievable line, and then you've got 3 lines that are like, okay, yeah, against most teams, they'd be all right. But against a Winnipeg Jets team that's big, heavy, skilled, fast, strong, all of those things, I feel like if you have McDavid, Draisaitl together, you're getting caved in every second shift if you go with those 2 on the same line against Winnipeg.
You know, I've liked what Jujhar Khaira's line has done. I mean, they're not going to move the needle much for you offensively. A chip in here or there. I mean, they've shown that a little bit with Shore. But I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say that McDavid and Draisaitl are together. The Oilers are going to have the best line in the hockey game, and the Jets are going to have the next 4. Like, I honestly think the Winnipeg Jets are deep enough that you'll take any one of those other lines against all of the combinations that the Oilers would bring together. So I'd be very surprised if Tippett comes out against the Jets, especially considering the Jets are going to be able to get whatever matchup they want. It's not going to be ideal in that situation. If you were able to split up McDavid and Draisaitl just goes back to his regular line anyway, and you go from having one line and nobody else to 2 still pretty good lines with McDavid, Puljujarvi, and whoever on that. Well, let's talk about that, Tommy. Just continue on here with this conversation. If it is McDavid and Puljujarvi, and there is no Nuge and Hopkins, who's the lucky individual that gets crack in that spot?
Oh boy. Like Tyler Ennis wasn't even on. I don't remember seeing him on the ice today. He hasn't been great when he does get in lately. James Neal has been on the 4th or 5th line basically the last few skates. Man, I don't know. Like, do you even slide Cassian up there? He hasn't been particularly great. Man, maybe you look at Ennis. I don't know. It's not a great or deep look right now on that left side. So if I would take a guess, James Neal maybe, and I don't even like that guess.
I think I'd still go back to Cassian. I think I'd still go give it, because we saw it. He went to it for about 2 periods in that one game, and then that was it. Never went back to it to start a game or anything. First of all, you just laid out there's not a lot of other great options anyway.
No.
And personally, I think you got to get Cassian going if you're going to have success in the playoffs anyway. Not that he's going to win or lose you a series, but he could make a play or 2 in a series that goes a long way for you in that series. So he's shown that he can play with Connor McDavid in the past. I know it's not ideal with Puljujarvi and Cassian both on, with the right shot. I think when they played them together in that other game, it was Cassian on the left, Puljujarvi still on the right. I might possibly flip them in that situation, but I think that would be, that's what I know. I know that's what I would want to see. I'm not too sure what Tippett does. The Neal thing could be something there. I don't know.
Hey, and if it is Cassian, regardless if he's playing on the top line left side or if he's on his own 3rd, 4th line, whatever you want to call it, hey man, start shooting the puck. Get yourself going. I know, and you said it, like the Oilers probably want to get him going. He has to want to get himself going, because Dusty, like, I know he talked about being physical and bringing those elements, hanging on to the puck, good cycling and all that. At some point, you need to turn it into offense. And there have been no scoring chances from him lately. He's just kind of there, like casually. And that, to me, is alarming. And, you want to give him the benefit of the doubt. But lately, it's like, come on, man, you need to at least get some traffic to the net, get in the skin and into the heads of the other teams and get into their equipment, play tough, play physical, get a shot on net, dude. Like, he has not been shooting the puck. He's been passing up opportunities. The most egregious instance of that was a couple weeks ago where it was a 3-on-2. He got the puck. He was on his offhand or on his off wing, and he could have fired it on the forehand, or he could have taken to the net on the backhand. He button hooked to the corner and started a cycle. And it was like, dude, you know better than that. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to explain it or describe what's going on with Zach Cassian. He needs to get that fire going himself, though. He is a much more effective player than what we've seen lately.
Tommy, the reason we do it live is so we can get some interaction with some folks on Twitter and on the TSN 1260 Facebook page if you're watching there. I'll try to check those comments as well, so feel free to ask a question. Feel free to comment on Tommy's mustache today. No big deal. Okay, so McDavid Mania asks us, when Nuge comes back, would you ever have them play the big three down the middle? And it's a topic that was discussed a lot in the past, Tommy, but not really this year much anymore. I think we've seen a little bit of a change there, but he does follow up with some combinations that he's throwing our way. So I'm going to run them by you and let's discuss here. So thank you to McDavid Mania for throwing these our way. Your lines, if you decide to go McDavid, Dry, and Nuge down the middle, it would be, this guy's saying, McDavid between Puljujarvi and Kassian, like we discussed. Okay. Dry with Yamo and Ennis. And then Nugent Hopkins between Josh Archibald and James Neal. And then you have Jujhar Khaira with Devon Shore and Alex Chason. What do you think?
That's balanced.
It's not bad.
Balanced. I don't mind that at all. I mean, it comes down to, again, what you're getting out of the left side. And for whatever reason, it's been so hit or miss. But I actually like that idea. I think that's better in terms of balance down the middle. Absolutely. But again, there's been this reluctance to get Nugent Hopkins to center unless Leon Draisaitl's on his line. And that's the only time or part of it that I go, geez, even though I like that, and that's a good suggestion. I like those lines and what it brings to the table. Do I see it happening? Probably not, just because of what we've seen from Dave Tippett when he rolls out his lines this year, as much as I like it. That's a good suggestion, though.
I don't, I'm with you. I don't see it happening, but just to quickly comment on this. I mean, Kassian can probably do whatever Nuge has been not doing for you on the left wing 5-on-5 anyway. Really, I mean, usually you'd say, you'd rather have Nuge up there 5-on-5, but this year it hasn't been so. I mean, you give Kassian a few games up there, I could see him contribute just as much, if not more than Nuge, at least offensively. And then Tippett refuses to play Nugent Hopkins with Draisaitl and Yamo anymore. So if he's never, ever, ever going to do that, I don't mind Ennis being the guy to go in that spot. And then you're like, well, what do you do with Nuge? Playing with Archibald and Neal. And I don't even mind that. I would be stunned if we saw it at any point. But
me too.
I also don't hate the idea. Yeah, it's interesting.
That's a good suggestion. Yeah. And you look at it, you go, well, okay, that line's pretty balanced. That line's pretty balanced. That third line looks all right all of a sudden. And then you have a really effective fourth line, which, at times lately has been your third line. I like that recommendation. I really do. That's a good one.
Dcards 35. And hey, keep the comments coming here. It's a Friday. Let's hit a few of these. Dcards 35 says, is it weird that I miss Slater Cuckoo? It's not weird.
It's odd.
It's slightly odd, but I wouldn't say weird.
Yeah. That's Dylan Cardinal, right? With the Popeyes cups. Yeah.
The Popeyes cups. Yeah, Mr. Popeyes cups himself.
That's right. Excellent Photoshop work. No, man, that's not weird. That's not weird to miss Slater Cuckoo, but I mean, I don't know when he gets back in, but he's been skating, and today he was with the main group, so maybe for Dcards, a good sign.
Intrigued by that 3-center look, which I never thought I would say, because what happens here is we all say, ooh, it's kind of intriguing. I kind of like it. Just like we just did. Then they put it together. Nobody on the wing can generate anything. And then all of a sudden you say, okay, you got to get Nugent Hopkins back up into your top 6. So
that's so true.
Plus,
but Dusty, we've put it out of our minds just because we know the tendency of Dave Tippett. And I think it's a good reminder to say, well, if you really want to emphasize balance, here's one way to do it. Hopefully Tip's watching. Maybe he's a fan of the Oil Stream. I doubt it. But who knows?
I think he actually does message in as McDavid Mania, and he was just running those ideas by us, Tommy. So that's good news.
Well, people and their burners.
Yeah, there's a few of them out there, I think. Yep. All right, a week off. We saw it earlier. They had, what was it, about 7 days, some of it in a hotel in Montreal before going in and playing the Maple Leafs. In the first period of that game against Toronto, they were outshot 10-4. Then they fell behind 1-0, I believe. And then they scored 3 in a row, had a 3-1 lead, let it slip away, and lost in overtime. Now they get another week off here, Tommy, going up against a really good Winnipeg Jets team. What are you expecting from the Oilers this time around? Not being in a hotel, being at home, but what are you expecting from them after this week-long break?
Factor in that they've gone through this scenario already once, and that might actually sharpen them up mentally because they know how flat they were that last time. So I'm expecting them to maybe have learned from their mistakes that last time around. Add to the fact that they weren't stuck in a hotel room and whatever games room that they have at that hotel in Montreal, and they're at home, they're with their girlfriends, and they're at least doing stuff, active, taking their dogs for the walk, whatever. That little part of life, I think, helps too, instead of being in that redundant loop over and over again. I expect them to be a little bit sharper. I do still expect Winnipeg to have the jump, though. A big win last night for the Jets. They're playing really well.
Yeah.
They're probably looking at the Oilers going, yeah, these guys are going to be flat. We got to jump on them quick. So I think Winnipeg's going to be bringing that emphasis and oomph early on. And the Oilers, let's see how well they can weather that. And I think the fact that, yes, they were at home, and on top of that, I think, they've been practicing and all that, and they've gone through that scenario before. That might help them a little bit to weather the storm.
Now, what does Tommy from 2011 think?
That Tom would have to say the Oilers are 110% ready to go. They're going to be gunning for a big win. And back then, I would have been at this time talking about the offseason because they were nowhere near the postseason. But if I said anything negative, I would have had like Kevin Lowe and my boss and the boss's boss and them yelling at me being like, why aren't you more positive?
You're a free man, Tommy. You're a free man.
TSN, baby. Like, it's just been amazing these last 3 years. It's like I'm alive again.
All right, that's going to do it for another episode of the Oil Stream. Once again, thank you to Ken Morrison for hopping on board, sponsoring our question of the day on every episode. Visit his website, kenrmorrison.com. If you're looking to buy a place, looking to sell a place, he's going to take care of you. Tell him that the Oil Stream sent you. And he's a big Oilers fan, so you might as well get your business to somebody who cheers for the team like you do. We did confirm McDavid Mania says he's definitely not Tippett. He would have put Dry back together earlier, the Nuge Hopkins Draisaitl Yamamoto line. So that does make sense. Confirmed, not him. Tommy, have a good pregame, postgame. I think the Jets are going to win on Saturday night. And then you get Montreal, a team that's caused some issues here for the Oilers. So we'll see. But maybe it just takes one game to get going. Or, maybe McDavid has some magic early and they get the win. I just a bad feeling about Saturday night, but hey, I got a horrible record at these things, so who knows?
I'll say the Oilers win. Have a great weekend, Dusty, and to our listeners and viewers, also enjoy the weekend. Please tune into the pre- and post-game show. See you next week.